Distinguished Achievement Award, which recognizes the exemplary achievements of alumni whose career success embodies Cabrini's mission of leadership development and commitment to social justice and academic excellence. This year's recipient is Joe Holden, class of 2002. Some of you may know or recognize Joe. He's pretty famous around these parts. Joe is the anchor of the weekend evening editions of Eyewitness News on CBS 3 and the CW Philly. But before Joe became a local celebrity, he was perhaps, like many others in this room tonight, a Delco kid. Me too. Yes. Joe attended St. Lawrence in Upper Darby and Monsignor Bonner High School in Drexel Hill. He spent his teenage years as a choir director and organist at St. Donato's in Overbrook, and later the director of music at St. Charles Borromeo in Drexel Hill. Joe's love of music helped pay his way through college. During his Cabrini days, he could be found in the Cabrini newsroom in the comm wing, where he was the editor-in-chief of the Loquitur. Dr. Jerry Zirk, communication professor and former chair of the department, is still in touch with Joe 16 years later. He follows him closely in the news and on social media. In a recent Facebook post, Joe candidly spoke about the fact that he didn't get into local news for the glamour, but rather to help people. Dr. Zirk responded to the comment, "Thank you, Joe, to you and other dedicated journalists who every day provide the information our democracy needs." Zirk noted that even as a college reporter and Loquitur editor, Joe was incredibly dedicated to give an accurate picture of the Cabrini community as editor-in-chief. Over the years, Joe has returned to Cabrini to mentor students and speak in class. When he meets Cabrini students on or off campus, he gives them both journalism tips as well as life coaching. His work provides a great example of the high calling and responsibility journalists are called to do. His impressive career in the news industry includes his previous roles as the weekend evening anchor at WPXI in Pittsburgh, where he covered, among other high-profile stories, Pope Francis's visit to Philadelphia. He was also an investigative reporter in Scranton and Virginia, and an assignment editor in Philadelphia. Joe has a track record of holding public officials accountable and breaking numerous stories involving political corruption and environmental issues, including stories connected to the reputed Kids for Cash scandal in, I apologize if I get this wrong, Luzerne County, and how public boards handle the rise of Marcellus shale industry in Susquehanna and Bradford counties. His work exposed the existence of a cancer cluster in Schuylkill County as well. He has twice been nominated for an Emmy. Today, Joe's exciting career has allowed him to come home, where he and his wife Kelly live in Newtown Square with their 3 children. Cabrini is proud to not only share the outstanding achievements of a successful alum like Joe, but also to recognize him with this deserving accolade. And for me, he's also a friend. Joe, please come forward and recognize as the 2019 recipient of the Distinguished Achievement Award. I know.
Thank you. I'll put it up there. And it'll break. Grocery list paper. The danger of putting a microphone in front of a reporter is you never know when it's going to end. At CBS 3, like WPXI TV in Pittsburgh, and like WBRE TV in Wilkes-Barre, and NBC 29 in Charlottesville, the assignment desk gets a lot of interesting phone calls. That is the nerve center of our newsroom. It is where things tick. There is the guy that calls every night, asking us for a repeat of the lottery numbers. Finally, a good friend of mine asked, "So have you ever won?" "No, I don't play." So about 6 months ago, a woman by the name of Bernice Vagoda called the assignment desk. I could tell the assignment editor at the time was struggling with the call. She put the call on hold and pretty much flabbergasted, "Can somebody help me with this lady? I don't know what she needs." So I'm a sucker for a good story. I said, 5420, transfer. Ms. Vagoda is from Glenside, from what I gather. She's 91 years old. She had a Whirlpool washing machine in the basement that just would not stop rusting. She's had repair calls for the Whirlpool washing machine many times over. She just can't understand. She's had Whirlpool her whole life in that Glenside house. And well, suddenly this model is rusting on the inside. And I'm on the phone with her thinking, rust on the inside, 91, and you've never had this problem before. Okay, so immediately my wheels in my mind start turning. She is fluid with details. She has lots of details. I said, "Miss Vagoda, please know that I would like to help you. It's just rust on the inside of your washing machine. Help me out." Well, she bought one of those insurance policies. Those insurance policies that guarantee you that whatever it is you have, sewer line, water line, electric line, they will cover. And as a reporter, I can tell you that that is a 50-50 thing. So Miss Vagoda gives me the information. And I, in turn, shoot off an email to Whirlpool. And I fire off an email to the insurance company. Miss Vagoda perhaps paid a couple $100s for that insurance policy that meant the world to her. They weren't doing well by her. And an email that I sent at 10:30 in the morning from my desk that would never become a story, this lady gets her couple $100 back. That is why I got into what it is I do. Miss Vagoda will never see a camera at her house. We won't have B-roll, as we say in the news business, of a washing machine with a rusty inside. However, I carry her closely to me because that is exactly the motivation behind what I do every day. I think that I could classify as a forever viewer, and mission accomplished. That ties into a larger framework as I look out and I see Dr. Jerry Zorick, Jay-Z, Dr. Adeline Bethany, our choral director, cracking the whip many nights. Dr. Marilyn Johnson. I shot an email to Dr. Johnson a few years or months ago, the time is fleeting, about Perrine's short stories and how I still enjoyed walking down memories lane and reading a few stories about, was it A Christmas Story, as it was called. Wonderful literature. In the Cabrini mission, you have not only the intersection of education of the heart, but for me it was an upbringing gifted with compassion, taught compassion and generosity. And I'd like to remark about my parents for instilling those gifts on me, that we were fortunate enough. My two younger brothers, one who is also a Cabrini graduate, and perhaps building missiles for Lockheed Martin in San Jose, business major. But that is the gift, and that is the gift that started very early on in childhood, and that Cabrini College, now Cabrini University, reinforced in my life. The fork in my road was one morning in senior year of high school at Bonner, and it was a trip to Temple, and then on to this woodsy college out in Radnor somewhere, and my friend's dad was doing all of the driving, so I was just along for the ride. And then I got into the driver's seat at Cabrini. I chose Cabrini over Temple. My father's eyes rolled slightly with the tuition differential. And yet here I am, and I am honored to receive this very distinguished award, and I thank you very much for all that you do to support and uphold the ideals and the values of this wonderful institution. Thank you.